Ahead of Australia's do-or-die test match this weekend against Wales, I've identified each team's 5 key routes to victory. These are 5 things in which I believe each team needs to take advantage of in order to win the test match. If you agree or disagree, please do let me know in the comment section down below, as well as what tactics do Wales and Australia need to implement in what is a really, really important game for Australia and a must-win for them. So I'm going to start off with Wales. Just as sort of a general idea, I believe Australia have got to try and keep the tempo high, and Wales have got to sort of take the sting out of the game and sort of tighten it up. So point number 1 for Wales is the maul. Now this is a really good weapon for Wales. They can really use it to their advantage. Now it also sort of ties in with taking the pace out of the game. If you can really take the maul to a forward pack and start making some meters off of it, not only does it tie up a lot of the forwards, it can also work as a real try scoring weapon. So if Wales can get their driving maul going, especially from 5 metres out, that'll be incredibly useful to them. Point number 2, play tight. Now look, with some of the speedsters Wales have got on the wing like Zammit and Rio Dyer, they can potentially get caught up in the mindset of trying to go wide to wide and use the winger's pace. Now look, against Australia with some amazing outside backs, my mind shifts to sort of Nikitawase, Korobete, players in which you don't really want to be running at, and if you do get turned over, they are absolutely lethal. So if Wales can keep it tight where possible, I think that will hold them in good stead to go on to win the match. And point number 3, trust the defence. I believe in this game, Wales might be more comfortable without the ball. Look, Wales know how to defend. They're incredibly, really robust team and incredible defenders. If you look at the back row, the likes of Lydia, amazing chop tackler. You look at Jack Morgan, he can do 40 tackles a game. He's just unreal. So if they can really trust their defence and almost sort of sit back, because if they have the ball and they're not doing anything with it, they're very susceptible to conceding turnovers, penalties. So if they get comfortable when defending, especially if they're holding on to a solid lead, then that might be beneficial. Point number 4, kick to compete. Now, I believe if you're kicking deep to this really dangerous Australian back 3, as I say, Korobete, he takes no prisoners, he runs it in hot. You look at Mark Nikitawase, he can break a tackle 7 days a week and twice on a Sunday. So you really have to really be careful with this back 3. So Wales have got some really nice aerial threats. I mean, if you can get Liam Williams up and competing for that ball, you can reap some rather large dividends off of that, as opposed to kicking deep. So look, for Wales, either kick the ball off of the pitch from a restart, or kick to compete, because I wouldn't be kicking deep to the Australian back 3. Point number 5, compete hard at the breakdown. Now we've seen Australia have some real troubles against Fiji at the breakdown, potentially under-resourcing it at times, and sometimes just simply being beaten by the better jackler. So if the likes of Jack Morgan can get over that ball, it could literally win them the test match. So combined with trusting the defence, if they manage to compete hard at the rucks, counter rucks, jackals, anything of the sort, it could really take the sting out of the Australian momentum. And as we know in rugby, momentum is absolutely crucial. Moving on to Australia, sort of almost the sort of the opposite of what I've said for Wales. Keep the fast pace is the first point. Keep the pace high. Now this could mean going wide to wide. This could mean sort of don't take a slow line out. You know, get to the line out, get it in, and let's get playing. Look, I think the Welsh are a very fit team, so it's not necessarily to sort of catch up with Wales in the last 20 minutes. I think it could simply just be the way to win. You've got some amazing large Australian forwards that are very athletic, can offload, do everything. You've got Carter Gordon, who is a very attacking fly half. He doesn't do a lot of kicking. Maybe he does under the Australian style, but it's not his DNA to kick. So if you can get him playing sort of a hard and fast game in which he'd be used to at the Rebels, that could prove to be a very important aspect of the game. Now, goal kicking. This used to be a huge problem for Australia, with Carter Gordon not being the sort of high 80s percentage kicker, but they've brought in Ben Donaldson, who on his day is just outrageously good at goal kicking. He's got some really, really nice range on that boot also. So what I would say for Australia is, how can they keep the scoreboard ticking? 3 points is a great option. Whenever you're sort of 40 metres, around that 40 metre line, if the pace of the game has been hard, just give your forwards sort of the 2 minute rest or whatever it's going to be, kick the 3 points, and keep the scoreboard ticking. and potentially put some scoreboard pressure on Wales. As we know, there's no pressure like scoreboard pressure, and if a team's conceding multiple penalties, it often leads to sort of a snowball effect of more and more penalties, and if these are getting punished with 3 points, it will take Australia a long way to victory. Point number 4, don't overplay. Now this is something I believe Australia can be guilty of sometimes. Now they do kick quite a lot, but same as the All Blacks with the sort of Southern Hemisphere style of rugby, they can be very guilty of overplaying. Now, if you're in your 22, you've got to make the decision whether to run or kick. Now, maybe you can go a couple phases running, but if you're going to continually try and play out from your own 22, it's really a recipe for disaster. So I'd say don't overplay in the wrong areas for Australia. Use the boots of Donaldson and Carter Gordon, who've got absolutely huge ranges on them, to play in the right areas, to keep Wales in their own half, and that'll hold them in good stead. Point number 5, resource the rucks. If you're going to play this fast-paced game of rugby, you have to resource the rucks better. They got stung completely against Fiji, really suffocated by their ruck presence. The likes of Bottia getting over that ball matter from Fiji. They really have to be better at not only getting to the rucks earlier, but sort of punching through the ruck and really clearing the space out. And if they manage to do that well, that'll mean the ball's on a platter for whoever's starting at 9, especially if it's Tate McDermott at 9 or maybe Nick White. This speed of ball and presentation at the ruck and making sure they resource it well will ultimately then lead to the fast pace. You can't have one without the other, so that's really, really imperative for Australia. So look, those are my 5 key points for each team. Please do let me know if you agree or disagree in the comment section down below. Look, I think it's going to be an incredibly good test match, and I'd say the outcome of the game is relatively down to quite a few of these points. So let me know who you think is going to win also, and thank you very much for watching.